Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. I hope you're having a great day or night in Jesus today. Thank you so much for being with us. We're going to be looking at variations between humans today and why the Bible does not use the phraseology race. So let's get started. And we're in Dr. Arlo Mullenpaul's book, Creation versus Evolution. Outstanding. And this is on page 87. I will say this as well, that Dr. Walt Brown in his In the Beginning has a tremendous section on this too, which we may do a discussion starter like we're using. This is a discussion starter on that as well. So let's jump in. So what terms does the Bible use instead of races? So Webster's defines a race as any of the different varieties of mankind distinguished by form of hair, color or skin, eyes, stature, bodily proportion, etc. And so many anthropologists now consider that there are only three primary major groups. The Bible does not refer to the word race. Instead, it uses terms such as tribe, tongue, people, and nation. In Acts 17:26, he's made from one blood every nation of man. We know from the Bible that Eve was the mother of all living, Genesis 3:20, and then after her, Mrs. Noah. The population grew rapidly until the time of Noah's flood, when all people were destroyed. So how can prejudice influence ideas regarding the origin of races? You know, in the Bible, we're just in the image of God. We've got a body, soul, and spirit. We all have a conscience. And, you know, Paul's very big in bringing this out in Romans 1, Romans 2, and nothing about variations. So prejudiced people, both religious and non-religious, have come up with a variety of theories for the origin of races. And some talk about Ham. We've talked about the supposed Hamitic curse, which does not exist. It's a curse to be Canaan. Early evolutionists were definitely racist. It is significant that Charles Darwin gave his book, The Origin of Species by Natural Selection, the provocative subtitle, The Preservation of Favored Races and the Struggle for Life. Racism. In one of his letters, he's quoting as believing that the higher civilized races will eliminate many of the lower races. He believed that the gorilla and what we would call African Americans occupied evolutionary positions between the baboon and the Caucasians. Thomas Huxley, who coined the term agnosticism, the leading evolutionist of the last century, said no rational man, cognizant of the facts, believes that the average, and I'm not going to say that word, is the equal, still less the superior of the white man. Henry Fairfield Osborn, professor of biology and zoology at Columbia University and president of the American Museum of Natural History's Board of Trustees, wrote and I'm not going to pronounce that word, stock is even more ancient than the Caucasian and the Mongolians, as may be proved by an examination not only of the brain, the hair, and the body characteristics, but the instincts and the intelligence. The standard of intelligence of the average adult, I'm not going to say that word, is similar to that of the 11-year-old youth of the species Homo sapiens. You know, I mean, it's just sick stuff, isn't it? And then you get on to eugenics and all of this. Margaret Sanger, awful stuff there. Thus, they believe that the white man was a more advanced species, higher in the evolutionary ladder than the black man, with the black man being somewhere between an ape and the white man. I remember reading, like, Aborigines, they were putting them in zoos and stuff like that. These were real humans, and they were putting them like as animals. This type of evolutionary thinking gave a pseudo-scientific justification for the selling into slavery of a great number of blacks from Africa. More recently, for the blatant racism of Nazi Germany, Hitler used the German word for evolution, which was Entwicklung, over and over again in his book Mein Kampf, My Struggle. Evolutionary ideas, quite undistinguished, lie at the base of all that's worst in Hitler's book, Mein Kampf, and his public speeches. He perhaps got the title of the book from Darwin's subtitle. There's a great, I guess he's from Stanford. Is it Wyckoff? It's why I can picture the book, From Darwin to Hitler. But you can get it, used to, at least on Amazon. I know Ann Coulter, I think she said she read it, turned her into a 6-day creationist or something like that, I think. So how do evolutionists explain the origin of races? You know, some even creationists go back to Babel with this. And some have proposed the fact that the skin will suntan or darken in the sun could be the cause of origin of dark skins. They postulate that each generation would get successively darker. This idea is based on a theory of inheritance of acquired characteristics proposed by Lamarck, which is not true. So, and you think about it, there's people that live like Eskimos would have much darker skin than people, let's say, traditionally from Germany or something like that. So, how can Christians account for the origin of races of people with a different coloring and stature? First of all, there was enough time before the flood to develop a large population with considerable variety, just as all dogs come from original two archetypes. Like the Labrador Retriever, it's only like 150, 200 years old or something like that. Noah's sons could have looked quite alike or quite different, as some brothers do. Fraternal twins, one black and one white, were born to Tom and Mandy Sharnock in 1982 in Lancashire, England. The mother was part Nigerian, the father was English. It all goes back to recumbent DNA and all this. And thus there needed to be a mechanism which caused the differences among people. Confusion of languages at Babel is probably the mechanism, and so it goes into this. So anyhow, it really just goes into variety in our DNA. I'm looking at red roses over here. There's all kinds of roses, purple roses and all this. And so an adult black male has approximately 1/30 of an ounce of melanin. It's not much on which to base prejudice. I think when they did the Human Genome Project, didn't they say out of 3.1 billion sequences, there's only like 6 differences between white and black? Go to scripture. I've done series on like scriptural sociology, scriptural psychology, and scriptural anthropology, that we're just humans, an image of God, fallen as they are. So God bless. We'll talk with you later. Thanks for being here. Do check out our other videos. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.